pile monitoring is it's a mechanism by which you're going to gather feedback from the pile to assess how you're doing with your composting process. We're going to use 4 different methods of gathering that information. The first and simplest thing that most people are probably familiar with is temperature. The next thing that we're going to focus on is moisture content. The third thing is we're going to assess odors. And then the fourth thing that we're going to do is we're going to visually observe the pile. Pile monitoring is also a mechanism by which you're going to be in compliance with one or more organizations or agencies. And so what they're looking for you to document primarily is that your pile has reached temperatures that are sufficient to inactivate or otherwise kill pathogens. This is called the process for the further reduction of pathogens, or otherwise referred to as the PFRP. By and large, the temperature corresponds to the amount of microbial activity in the pile. Thermophilic, high temperature composting periods will achieve temperatures of 131 to 160 degrees Fahrenheit. Those are the temperature requirements required to meet regulatory conditions. Your pile monitoring sheets are going to be your tool for remembering what you just captured, understanding challenges or issues that might come up in the future and coming back to remediate them, and tracking your pile activity for regulators. You can download one of these off the Highfields website. If you make your own or use another one, it should have the date when you actually take the measurement. It should have your temperature, your air temp, your moisture content, and other observations like odors and visual observations. When we're measuring the temperature of the pile, we're going to take 2 different readings in each location. And essentially, when we stick our probe in 12 inches, it's going to be in just at the edge of this outer layer. And so since it reads from the bottom 2 inches, we're going to be measuring this temperature. But when we stick it in 3 feet, it's going to be getting to the core of the pile. When you're looking at temperature, you also have to remember that the temperature is going to naturally change depending on the availability of food resources. And so as those organisms consume and degrade organic matter, their activity will slow down and therefore your temperature will decrease. And essentially you're going to see your temperatures peak out at a certain point, stay there for maybe several weeks to several months, and then begin to drop down to more ambient temperatures. When you're measuring moisture content, ideally you're looking for a moisture content of 60 to 65% moisture. And what I'm trying to figure out basically is there excess moisture in here or not? If I had moisture dripping from here, I would know that my moisture was above 70%. If I have moisture glisten between my knuckles, I would be closer to about 65%, and even a little bit below that. If the material basically stays in a ball, it maintains its conformation as a squeezed up ball, but it doesn't fall apart, I'm probably in the range of 50 to 65% moisture. So I would guess this is probably about 55% moisture. You shouldn't have any strong odors. Strong odors are indicative of a composting process that has gone awry in some capacity. Anything that smells strongly and is distracting to somebody standing there or is drifting away from the site is a sign that you have problems in your pile. Often our odors are associated with anaerobic conditions in which pile moisture is too high and the flow of oxygen is inadequate. The structural density of your pile is very difficult to measure quantitatively in the field, but we can look at how friable the material is, how loose it is. Is it easy to get the probe in there? If you're getting a lot of resistance with your probe, your pile is too dense. If the pile structure is nice and parabolic and it holds its shape, that's what you're looking for. If that pile begins to sag or slump, typically you're experiencing too much moisture and too much density and the pile can't hold itself up. So we've got our 4 pile monitoring strategies: our temperature, our moisture content, our odor, and our visual observations. Each one of these can tell us if we're on the mark or not with the composting process. If we're not on the mark, they become amazing tools for beginning to remediate the situation and improve it. Pile monitoring is your key to being a good operator. It's how you actually really know what's happening on your site and with your compost. Focusing on your pile monitoring is probably one of the best investments that you can make in the operations of your composting site, because it helps you be a more intelligent operator. You don't need to go out and turn if your pile doesn't need air.